Welcome back to Rolando Estacada, and today is a very special day. We are going to be unboxing the RMJ Tactical Shrike Tomahawk, RMJ Tactical Raider Dagger, RMJ Shrike S13, RMJ Tactical Combat Africa. And I can barely contain my excitement. This is a wonderful gift from my friend at RMJ Tactical, Ryan Burkhart. And Ryan, I cannot thank you enough for being such a wonderful friend and being such a wonderful support to the Rolando Estacada channel. And I can't wait to open it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. The thing about RMJ Tactical is that RMJ Tactical is all but synonymous with what Tomahawks are, and I have so much respect for the brand and what they've made and their contributions to military personnel, specifically to Marines, because they are a big part of what provides support to our U.S. Marines. Look at this. Look at the swag that it comes with. The sticker. Wow, that's cool. That is cool. I didn't know it comes with this. I'm so new to the brand. Wow, that's cool. It's like a baseball card. And here's the seal, the certificate of authorship, authenticity. That's excellent. And RMJ comes with this really beautifully done, I guess, user's manual. Whoa. Holy smokes. That is really cool. And I think that's cool because they really treat it like very important equipment and gear. And this is really beautifully packaged. Now, before I open this, I have to tell everybody here, whatever you see in this unboxing, this is a gift from Ryan, meaning this is not part of a production run. This is very unique to me. Then this is something I'm very grateful to him for. But he and I just want to make you aware that this is not something that's going to be available as a production run or even a limited run. Oh, Lord, look at this. So we have the attachments to the Kydex sheath. You can attach here. I have not handled this. Wow. Oh, wow. Look at how that, look at that. Hello. So this is an unboxing first impressions, and just, I am really just marveling at how it handles. That's what these unboxings are for. Wow, that feels really good in the hand. Wow, that's a very unique balance. Wow. And I'm saying wow a lot because it looks really simple from afar. That's one thing I've always observed about RMJ, that there's a type of simplicity to their work. But then when you handle it, and I got a chance to handle it at the RMJ booth at Blade Show, and there's just something, I can't quite describe it, but the best way to handle it is when you first, like when the first time you handle a Rolex, like when you handle a Rolex, you're just kind of, it looks just like a watch. And then you look more closely at it and someone tells you how it works and you kind of go, whoa, oh my God, look at that puño. This handle feels really good. There's just something about it where you just kind of want to hold on to it. There's no like hot spots, but you'd be surprised how sometimes you get a product where you think, no, there shouldn't be any hot spots, but there are. Look at that. This is a really nice sheath. The sheath is really brand new, so it still has a very tight fit, but look at that where it says Shrike. That's really beautifully done. RMJ, made in the USA. This is a first impressions, and I'll tell you, my first impression is just, wow, I've heard so much about RMJ Tactical, and one of my subscribers, Stony, aka James, I believe that is his handle on YouTube, has been saying for a long time, please review. And not just him, but several of the Estacada subscribers have been saying, please review RMJ. And lo and behold, we have the RMJ Tactical Shrike. This is the full size. This is fantastic. I don't have the exact specs on me right now. I'm gonna guess this is about an 18-inch overall. it feels really good. And when I say really good, like it wants to move. And some tools, as you've seen in my video where I've made a comment that, okay, it moves, it's very light, it moves light. And part of that is that it's light, meaning a lot of the commands for it to move really comes from the practitioner. But some tools, especially the ones that I've gotten, the wonderful customs I've gotten from Bagwell, who's basically holds the bar, like has the high bar in my collection for how tools should really be. They're not light. They have a balance where once you kind of move, they start to move. They're not heavy where that you hold them in your hand and they just kind of want to stay there. When I say they have weight, it means they want to move. And I tell you, just holding this Shrike, it wants to move. It's like, let's go, let's do this. Yikes. Oh, look at that. Do you see that? Do you see this, you see that sharpened edge here? Now, remember I've said in my previous videos, I'm not crazy about these, but what's awesome is that it actually, that edge is here and then it terminates up here. So this part is not sharp. So I don't know if I'm going to go from here to here. Well, hey, look at that. That actually fits. All right. And this is not sharp. Let's take a look at that war pike. Wow. I can't wait to move with these and give you all the analysis and history of it because RMJ has such a storied history in terms of just how much Ryan Johnson has devoted not only a lot of his work, a lot of his life into this, like he really believes in it, but just so there's so much, he listens to his customers and clients, and that some, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Shrike came from hundreds and hundreds worth of feedback. This is a very good example of what a collaboration with your customers and clients could look and feel like, and it is the RMJ Shrike. But his descriptions, I mean, I've seen a lot of his videos, and a lot of his descriptions of his work has a more intellectual bent. And I really appreciate the intellectual approach that Ryan Johnson has as it relates to the creation of the RMJ Shrike and pretty much all of his tools, Fibonacci formulation in the creation of all of this. But he was also talking about the arc, especially this beard here. It follows the arc of a strike with the tomahawk. So overall first impressions, this is really just, it feels really good in the hand. And as somebody who has not just handled a lot of the top weapons and tools in the knife and sword industry, but also move with them, train with them on a fairly frequent basis as a martial artist and martial arts instructor, I would say that this is very much top of the line. This is a true top of the line tool. Just everything about it is so well executed, but the best part, it can't wait to move in my hands, and I can't wait to move with it in my hands also. This is the RMJ Shrike S13, which is basically the compact version of the full-size Shrike. I have to be full transparency. Ryan Burkhart is a really good friend at RMJ Tactical, and he gifted me not just the previous Shrike, not just this Shrike, but two other tools that I will be unboxing, so keep an eye out for those two other RMJ tools. Ryan, I cannot thank you enough. You're really spectacular. Was such a great friend to me and a great friend to the Rolando Estacada channel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this amazing RMJ Shrike S13, which again is the compact version of the full-size RMJ Shrike. All right, it comes with this instruction manual, sticker, of course, certificate of authorship, really first class. And of course the collector's card, that's really cool. Codename Shrike, yes. And of course the safety manual, I like that it comes with it. Oh yes, yes. So these are the loops for the Kydex sheath. And I unboxed the full-size RMJ Shrike first, and I'm not going to grab it this way because there's a very, very pronounced punyo on that part, which you will get to see. I'm going to handle it from here. Oh, yes. Yes, yes. Look at this little guy. And that's the punyo I was talking about. Look at that. That means business. That's a windshield breaker. That's one hell of a strike this way. But, oh wow. He feels really fast in the hand. Look at that wonderful Kydex sheath. Let's go ahead and take him out. Yes. RMJ, made in the USA. There's the Shrike S13. I love that it's engraved. It was the same with the full-size RMJ Shrike. I have to remind everybody that this is a first impression video, so I'm not going to do any movement or analysis yet. There is another video for that, as all of my subscribers know. Please stay tuned. This is your friendly reminder to please click like and subscribe. And once you subscribe, please hit notifications so that you will be the first to see your videos. Gotta tell you, this one feels in terms of balance very similar to the Shrike, but just a touch lighter. And when I say a touch lighter, meaning it stays very lively in your hand, but a touch lighter meaning, all right, in terms of weight, the way it settles in my hand, it's a little bit lighter, but that liveliness remains the same. Because just because something is light doesn't mean it wants to move. And just because something is heavy doesn't mean it doesn't want to move. So liveliness and lightness are two different things. This is just a little lighter than the RMJ Shrike, the full size, but this is definitely just as lively. And I'm chuckling because I can feel him. He already wants to go. Yeah, he wants to go. And I'll tell you this, I noticed this in the full-size Shrike as well. Here on the lateral, like when it wants to fall along the lateral line, relative to my body, like he kind of wants to go. That means he's gonna be very good in the clock movements from Filipino martial arts, meaning you're going from 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, noon. But when I have it so that it's on that downward movement, like a chopping movement this way, or chopping movement this way, see, that's really cool. That's really cool because even though technically the edge here, just by looking at it, has more mass than the war pike, they both have that same balance. They both want to fall the same exact way. Maybe a touch more, and that's really, wow, you can tell the intelligence. Maybe a touch more with this, just a touch. This one, yeah, that one feels really good here, but just a touch more here. But from what I'm seeing, the way it wants to move is that as it falls forward, it almost like it's going to terminate right here. That movement terminates right here, which is great because what you want to do with the beard, as you can see that it is a very sharpened beard with a very sharpened point here, is that once you chop, you tear. Chop and tear. This war pike, oh my god, this is so beautifully executed. I can feel it. This war pike falls forward also. Falls forward, but what's cool is that since this part, the edge is slightly heavier, so that when you come down, you have the opportunity to extract. Very, very finely balanced. That took a lot of thought and a lot of work, and I like that the RMJ Shrike model, according to Ryan Johnson, is the one that was created primarily in collaboration with feedback from customers and of course military personnel, because the majority of his clients and customers are military personnel, specifically the US Marines. But I'll tell you the primary difference, if you were having to decide just on first impressions whether you go with the Shrike, the compact Shrike S13 or the full size, I'm going to say just from first impressions, very hard to say because they're both really spectacular. It's like going to Bagwell and Bagwell goes, well, I made you an 11-inch Bagwell and a 9-inch Bagwell. Which one do you want to take? You're going to say both. And I'm going to say the same thing here. If you're going to end up getting one or the other, get both. As a martial artist, I think it's always good to have both tools. I don't have a preference. It's too early, but it's too early. I mean, not only is it too early this happy Saturday morning, but it's also too early because it's just the first impressions to be able to say which one is my preference. But I'll tell you, just from first impressions, this handle, see, this feels really good here a lot. And if I leave just enough puño, I think that feels even better. Yeah, that's really well executed. Look at how when I'm here, the majority of the pressure is going to be on the pinky ring finger, which is perfect because, as you know from my BOWIE combatives and also Shinkaguryu, I like having the majority of the pressure on the pinky ring finger because once I feel that pressure here, it automatically wants to make my two fingers pull this way, which then allows my palm to press into the handle, and that fires the entire tricep line. And now I'm moving primarily from the multiplanar capabilities of the shoulder girdle. So this fires the tricep shoulder lines. That's great. And then here's the cool part, because if I let it drop here, that allows for snap cut, snap cut. Oh, yes, yes, yes. This is going to be a beautiful snap cutter. I already know it. I already know it. And yes, I already know it. Yes, look at that. I don't know if anybody knows, but normally my unboxing videos are the uncensored, a little more uncensored video. It's really this full-blown Rolando Estacada first impressions. This is great here because then if I need to choke up, now mind you, this is sharpened, so doing any sort of dug bawas movement where I go from one handle to another, technically it's actually safe. It's a little too close. It's a little too close, but it's a little too close at first view, but actually it indexes perfectly. So I can actually grab it here and not risk anything, but I would recommend if you're going to do that kind of practice, please have gloves on you always. Safety first always. This pike, oh, geez. I can't wait to share with you the movement analysis of this and how to move with it because I've heard so many crazy things about the use of this pike. And it's just, and it really is interesting how it's been balanced because this is what termination is. I mean, both are termination, but I've heard crazy things about this and we'll talk about it in the movement analysis video. But what I'm really impressed by with the Shrike S13 is how going forward and then reversing it, going forward feels exactly the same. That's amazing. Something else also is that this doesn't spin in the hand because there's just enough indexing along the handle so that I know that there's enough angularity here so that I can index as I turn it. That's interesting because for anybody who's ever done Filipino martial arts and sparred with it, at some point that stick is going to spin in your hand. And clearly when this spins in your hands, you're either going to get bad news or bad news. Oh my God. I can't stop chuckling at just how really good this is. There's so many things I can do with the RMJ Shrike, both the full size and S13, and I can't wait to do the movement and analysis video for you. And this is another RMJ from my friend at RMJ Tactical, Ryan Burkhart. Thank you, Ryan, for this magnificent gift, not only to me, but to the Rolando Estacada channel. I can't wait to unbox it because this is the RMJ Tactical Raider Dagger. And it comes with this it comes with this booklet, which is really great. The previous Shrikes also came with it. Certificate of Authorship, CPM 3V. I can't wait to get my hands on this. And each of their products have their own collector's card. Really cool. This is a pirate. RMJ USA. Love the sticker. And I love the packaging. Oh, yes. Yes, yes. So from what I read of the description, this is 10 inches overall of CPM 3V. I'm always careful, and I suggest also that you're careful. When you open, if you take a knife out of its sheath and it is double-edged, just be mindful when you press into it. Make sure you're pressing up because you don't want to press in for obvious reasons because you have an edge. Wow, look at that. Wow, look at that. Now, mind you, again, just this is a first impressions video. So my movement analysis is going to be on a different video. So this is, in a way, it's good for you, my subscribers. This is also a good reminder for you to click like, subscribe, and also notifications so that you get the latest in the Rolando Estacado video library. What's really cool is just how you have this hourglass shape that is very traditional in the World War II catalog of knives. And I'll tell you that this hourglass shape is really cool because if you use index and thumb, that's really cool because it's super secure. It's really locked in there. That kind of Olympic hook grip when you do barbell snatches. And then you have this palm swell that really sits in there. And then you have this extra, so the removal of the material here, so that when you're really gripping in, you see how no material gets in the way of the palm getting into that handle. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. And of course, as a dagger, it is double-edged. This is really fast, but you can see a lot of that balance is going to be, the balance is going to be right here, where this is where the balance is going to be. The balance is going to be right there, right at where that top bolt is, which is where it should be, like right down the middle. So it has this nice middle balance. Now that's going to be interesting because just securing it here, it's really just an extension of your arm at that point. And as you know, I like switching grips from here, maybe even into a modified for, yeah, modified foil grip. Wow, that's really cool. Okay, you have this grip, push dagger grip, funnel grip, and of course, yes, look at that, earth grip. Transitions over very nicely. And this here, with the grooves here, that actually feels really good in the hand. Really super secure. There's a way to put my thumb here. Very ergonomic, and I love this guard design here where it's very subtle, but it terminates just at the right place. It comes up, but you see how there's these little subtle, how it kind of comes in, it curves in. That's very subtle. It's something that I have also in a couple of my Randalls, and I like how they have that here also, because if anything comes in this way, it catches. Not like you're going to do any sort of fighting and all of a sudden hope to catch, but that's a cool subtle design. It also impacts the balance of it as well, from my experience, because if it's just straight, it doesn't balance as well. It's not as lively in the hand, but this allows it to be lively. Oh yes, I like how when I open my hand, it just wants to fall right into push dagger grip. And look at this, look what I just discovered. Hey, look at that, look at that. There you go. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. There you go, my friend. Yes, look at how my fingers can just really get comfortable there, just in case. Now, just a little bit of martial philosophy here. Rolando, why do you like to transition for your grips? Because one thing I've discovered in terms of my experience, not just in sparring, but also in just taking a training knife and just hitting like a punching bag or a target, what tends to happen is that for some strange reason, your hands just open. I don't know why. I don't know if that happens because some sort of neural inhibitors kick in and it just wants to open up. I don't know. I have a very strong grip, so I don't understand why sometimes the hand just opens. But what I've found in sparring is that when you're fighting for trying to disarm each other, or you go to the ground, some form of re-gripping just happens and it's just natural. So knowing how to transition from here, this way, funnel grip, it's just natural. Or switching to the other hand, that's just natural in the natural flow of a combative exchange, or even in your training, it's just going to happen. So for a knife like the Raider Dagger to have that in mind, where since it's a fighting knife, knowing how fluidly a knife can go from one hand to another, really nice ergonomic pass off feel there. It almost feels like when I'm doing this, it rolls over really nicely, although it has very clearly these nice dimensions here, so it's not a rounded handle. The fact that you have a handle that flows from one hand to another and flows from one grip to another, as I was mentioning, in sparring or in training, you gotta have a knife where the handle is not too dedicated to one kind of grip, because you're gonna need to re-grip, and you have to be able to re-grip in any way that you can, whatever's accessible to you, in a way so that you can secure it and then regain the offense. And even if it means a push dagger here to funnel grip this way, it's just a natural part. And it's just part of, especially if you're doing a drill where it's really on the hard side, where you're really pushing each other, going to the ground, switching weapons, going from knife, stick, going to whatever weapons you can. It's like really all out. You're going to find that you're going to lose the knife at some point, and you got to be able to re-grip it. It just happens. So having a knife that they designed, the Raider Dagger, where it has that kind of grip fluidity, something that they honored, is really very cool. Now, I know everyone's thinking, well, how sharp is it? Guys, it's sharp. I'm just going to be very careful with it. Yeah, that's sharp. That's going to bite. I'm doing this very lightly right now, very carefully. That's sharp. I never really test knives for sharpness, because especially nowadays, it's not the early 2000s anymore where it's kind of hit or miss. And since it's an RMJ, you know it's going to be sharp. And also this type of paint job that Ryan had done, just like in the other videos I had mentioned, this is something that he did specifically for me as a gift by request. So it's not something that you can expect to get from a mass production standpoint or even a custom standpoint. This is something that he did for me specifically. So once again, Ryan, thank you very much. But I cannot wait to do my movement analysis with this, and even moving with the Shrikes with this Tomahawk Dagger capability. I cannot wait to do that. This is an amazing gift. I'm very excited to open it. This is the unboxing of the RMJ Tactical Combat Africa. Holy smokes. Look at this magnificence. Yeah, I can already feel this is going to be very special. So the package comes with RMJ sticker decal, the collector's card. They all come with, so this is very cool. Oh, that's excellent. And we have the manual, the booklet, safety booklet. We have the certificate of authorship, and what we can see here is that it is ADCR V2. That's fantastic. And another decal, RMJ. This is great. I can already feel it. I already know it. I already know it. Just by holding the handle, I already know this is going to be fantastic. Kydex is still very tight because it's so new. Yes. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Oh, yes. So just by taking a look at it, it takes a lot of its design from the K-bar and a lot of knives that were born out of World War II, used by our military personnel. But I'm telling you, just from a liveliness perspective, I can't help but kind of chuckle, because I can already tell he and I are going to be very good friends. The balance, the feel of it, I already look. See, that's already your snap cuts ready to go, and you see how this handle edges down, so it angles down this way. So snap cut, which then comes down this way, which then becomes this wonderful thrust. I have this to pull it right back so that I'm back in business. Back cutting is going to be really cool with this. Oh, he feels really, he and I are going to flow really well here. And I've said this in the other videos as well, that this type of paint craftsmanship that was designed for this knife and the other RMJ products that I received from Ryan are a gift. So you cannot expect them to come out of any production or limited custom edition. This is something that he did specifically for me and the channel, and I really appreciate him for it. But my God, this is so beautifully executed. Take a look at that fuller, and what that does is just lightens the knife, but it lightens it in such a way so that it's really super lively. It just wants to snap. The blade length is 5.5 inches, and 5.5 inches, that range between 5 and 7 inches blade category. This is 5.5 inches. Is that category of knife where it's kind of a dual kind of fighting knife, because if it's designed perfectly, and this is where a lot of knife makers have to pay a lot of attention, wherein if the knife is somewhere between 5.5 and 7 inches, and if it's in the BOWIE profile, you have to make a decision between how lively it's going to be in terms of where you put the weight. Because on the one hand, there are some people who like it where the majority of the weight is in the handle, because they like it super secure, because they like doing more of the Sykes-Fairbairn kind of methodology, where it's coming more from a rapier dagger tradition, where some of us, like me, like it so that more of the weight is towards the tip, so that it has substantial snap cutting power, like so. And this one, I'm very glad that RMJ made the decision where it's going to be a little bit more forward. So that's, yeah, you see how I'm trying to put my finger here and it's already falling forward. The balance is going to be just above the guard here, which is going to be, well, right above, just above it. I would say just above. Yep, right there. It's going to be slightly above the guard. Not right at the guard, but slightly above it. To me, that is perfect because I can feel it already. It wants to, right about here, just wants to go. A lot of that has to do with how the handle is created, so that it's slightly flattened, but it has some roundedness to it, but slightly flattened handle, so that once it indexes to my hand, it's a little, you see how it hooks onto my fingers this way? All I have to do is extend my wrist this way, extend my wrist this way, so it meets, and now it's perfectly aligned in Dragon's Breath tradition, i.e. from Shinkageryu, where when I push this way, my tricep lines fires, and that can only be achieved if the handle is done in such a way where it's slightly flattened, but you can see some tapering also, which is good for ergonomics, and also some of the grip retention here, which is also good for tactile feedback, which I'm a big fan of. But look at this. Look at how it flattens. I go into wrist extension, and off I go. Yes, yes. And this one, unlike the Raider Dagger, it has a more hyper-intentionalized handle, meaning that the Raider Dagger is if you take a look at it from a bilateral perspective, they're kind of equal. Each side of the handle is different. And what that tells me is that from a grip perspective, it's a little agnostic. It will hold comfortably in practically any grip. This one can do that as well, but it's very clear what the purpose is. The purpose is you're going this way, and that's obvious because the dagger is double-edged. The Combat Africa is single-edged, but I'm going to try it right now. Let's see how it goes. All right, so you have your normal grip, modified foil. Okay, well, it can. It's a little heavy though, but it can do push dagger. Okay, peak all. It can do peak all. Yep, it can. And it can do earth grip, ice pick grip. Oh yeah, really comfortable in ice pick grip. And then moves right back. Takes a little bit of effort. A little bit. And when I say effort, not that it's so heavy, but you don't want to all of a sudden use so much momentum and you swing it and all of a sudden it's just flying out and all of a sudden it's a ballistic tool. We don't want that. But I think that it's going to handle at its best right here like your very traditional combat BOWIE. I like this part here. It's angled just correctly, just for the oh boy, this is gonna be a snap cutting machine. I like that. Wow, that's awesome. And if we take a look at that false edge, it's not sharpened. But that doesn't mean it can't back cut. Because what I've found with BOWIEs, let's take a look at, let's say, the Cold Steel Natchez or the Cold Steel 1917. Although their false edges are not sharpened, they can still back cut. And I can all but assure you, just by taking a look at this, I know it will. It's going to be one heck of a stabber. Wow. So that's going to go through cardboard and all types of soft targets very easily. I think that's very cool. As you can see with the construction, how super reinforced that tip is. That's amazing. Yep, it's not sharpened, as you can see. 5.5 inches overall blade length. So it's a 5.5 inch blade length, 12 inches overall. This looks and feels magnificent. This is spectacular, and I cannot wait to give you the movement and analysis videos for this amazing RMJ Combat Africa BOWIE knife. Stick around, stay tuned, more videos to come.